Okay, so here we go. Our first example here is asking us to use this graph to describe a possible journey home undertaken by a sales representative travelling in the country. So here they're basically asking us to write a story. Okay, so let's start our story. If that's 9 a.m. and that's 11 a.m, then our story must start at 7 a.m. So what happens at 7 a.m. in our story?
Get up.
No. Look at the graph. He is obviously already up because at 7 a.m. he's moving. So what are we going to put in our story? Starts what?
He starts journey into the country.
Okay, what sort of journey is it?
Sales journey.
Is he walking? Why not? Hands up please. Why isn't he walking? Dougal? Okay, so he can't walk 150 k's in 3 hours. Okay, so he's not walking. Alright? What sort of travel could he be taking? Hands up please. George? Car. He's probably travelling in car. Okay, so let's start our story by saying he gets in the car and starts his journey at 7 a.m. Alright, so how long is he travelling on this particular journey for?
3 hours.
Okay, so it's until 10 a.m, so he's travelling for 3 hours. So he drives for 3 hours at what speed?
50 an hour.
Yep, 50 kilometres per hour.
Are we including traffic?
That's his average speed. Okay? Alright, what happens when he gets to his destination? Megan?
He stops for an hour.
Okay, so then he stops for 1 hour. And what do you think he's going to do during this hour? Jasmine?
Relax, because he's been driving for 3 hours straight.
Okay.
Maybe he's making
For a break, what's your idea, Flynn?
I thought he might be making sales because he is
And
initiative.
a sales presentation.
Good on him.
Okay, what's happening next? Megan? He's driving again. Why isn't he walking? Okay, then he drives for how long, Daniel?
Now,
Yep, 1 hour. At what speed, Cameron?
It's
50 what? K's per what? Kilometres per hour. Okay, so then he reaches destination B. So how long does he stop at destination B? Yep, stops for 2 hours. Okay, what's he doing in these 2 hours, Georgia? What's he going to do before he sells lunch? Before he sells stuff? Yep. So he stops for 2 hours,
He stops
Has-
at 1
has lunch,
and at 3. That's 2 hours.
then does another presentation.
Minus 2.
Okay, so after those 2 hours, hands up if you've got something to say, please. Hands up if you've got something to say. What have you got to say, Flynn?
stops at 11 and then starts again at 2, so isn't that 4
He
hours?
stops at 12.
He stops at 12 and he goes at 2. It's 2 hours. Okay, so what's he doing after this break, Keegan?
He's travelling another 50 kilometres.
And is he walking this time?
No, he's in his car.
Why?
Because he did 50 kilometres.
Okay, so then, don't need that, thank you. Then he gets back in the car and drives another hour. Okay. Alright, another hour at 50 kilometres per hour. Okay. Alright, so now we're at point C. So one more break and then one more travel home. So then stops for 1 hour. Okay, afternoon tea and presentation. And then drives home.
What about petrol?
Okay. Alright, so that's our first example there. Just writing a story, just using your imagination to describe a situation that's been given to you by a graph. Okay? So, Daniel, can you concentrate please?
Yep, close.
So the next example here, we're given another graph, and this time it's the distance a homing pigeon travelled from its point of release until it reaches home. Alright, so homing pigeon, you might release it in Dunedin, and then it finds its own way back to Christchurch. Use the graph to determine the total length of the flight. So how are we going to read the total length of this graph? Jasmine?
It is 480 kilometres.
Okay, so we're just tracking across to where the graph finishes, and so that's 480 kilometres. Okay, question B, the total time taken for the pigeon to reach its destination. Oliver?
9 hours.
I think you need to look at the graph a little bit more carefully, because it's more than 9 hours.
11.
No.
No, look at it carefully, Thomas. Don't just shout out guesses.
No, it's 11 because it goes 2 across from that. No.
Okay, let's look at the distance
Oh,
between
yeah.
6
9.
and 9.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so there's 2 squares representing each hour, and it goes 2 squares after 9. 10. 10 hours. Okay, question C.
What's 10 plus 2?
Can we stop the talking, please, Thomas? Okay, question C. At the time taken to fly the first 200 kilometres, so let's track across at 200 kilometres and then track down. So how much time is that? It's a bit hard to see on the graph there.
2.5 hours.
How much time?
2.5 hours.
Yep, 2.5 hours. So 2.5 hours. Okay, question D. The time taken to fly from the 240 mark to the 400 mark. So let's track across at 240. I might use a different colour for this one. So at 240, that's the time at 240, and we'll track across at 400. So there's 400. There's the time for 400. So reading that off the graph, how long does it take? Dougal? Yep, 3.5 hours. Okay, question E, the average speed for the first 4 hours. So 4 hours is going to be here, and he's travelled 320 kilometres in that 4 hours. How are you going to work out the average speed over that distance and time? Yep.
Is it 320? No.
Yep.
Kilometres per hour.
Almost. Flynn?
So you do 320 divided by 4.
Yep.
Which would be 90. 80. Sorry.
Yep. Okay. And then finally, question F, the average speed for the whole trip. So he travels 480 kilometres in how many hours?
11.
10 hours. So that's 48 kilometres per hour on average. Okay. Alright, so that's all on OneNote along with the work that I want you to get on with today. So laptops out and getting on with that please.